Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hemant Prasad, and I thank you, everyone, for joining this webinar. Thanks for having the patience to listen to us for next 35 minutes. As you might have been receiving emails from my colleagues, this webinar, we will walk you through on learning how an innovative enterprise content platform can secure your business critical documents at Endpoints. I am joined by my colleague Jason from Fasoo, and he will walk us through a detailed presentation as well as the solution demo covering the points that we have shared with you via the email webinars. Jason, can you help me go to the next screen, please?
Yes, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar. I am Jason Zone, who is Principal Consultant at Fasoo. Today, I'll be hosting the Wrapsody webinar and talk about company security and management-related issues on unstructured data. During the course of the presentation, I'll first touch why we have data problem, especially about the unstructured data, and how these problems are created, examine what they are, and how to approach to resolve those problems. With that said, let me proceed with the presentation. Many organizations believe knowledge management is critical to their business operations, and there is no doubt digitalized files help organizations to share knowledge efficiently. However, organizations face enormous challenges managing those data. Most companies have relatively less issues on structured and semi-structured data since they can be identified where they are located. But when it comes down to the unstructured data, especially those data stored at endpoint and file servers, which could average up to 80% of organizational data, then various problems are popping up. The latest Dartford report has revealed that a very large percentage of data collected and stored by organizations are useless, unknown, and unused. So it shows more than 50% of the landscape surveyed is dark data, which is unseen and clogging up the storage. Well, taking up space is not a real issue. Real problem is not knowing where they are, how they are managed, and enormous number of data is vulnerable. We can easily guess almost all that data is unstructured and localized, which is sit on PCs and file shares. So what are the problems? First of all, silo issues. Organizations use multiple repositories, and each repository has its own access control and management policies, causing conflicts and often results redundancies and security issues. Silo issues can lead to redundant, obsolete, and trivial data problems and various infrastructure and maintenance overhead costs as well. And dealing with sizable data, not knowing where they are, and unable to control can cause governance and compliance challenges. So without a question, unstructured data is definitely giving a lot of headache to organizations in both security and productivity aspects. So let us see why we have information management silos. As we embrace a digital transformation, the way we communicate and manage digital assets have changed dramatically. There are so many communication channels like emails, messengers, and conferencing tools, also many kinds of repository serving its own purposes, and even more security options go with it. So what is IoT, and how do we end up with these data? As many of you know, ROT stands for redundant, obsolete, and trivial. ROT data is constantly generated as users touch files. When users save as, copy, download, email, and even through workflow and repository systems. And oftentimes, systems recognize the same document differently. Well, is there anyone who has the identical file in a different file folders? Are we also attaching numerous versions on emails? How about downloading new versions from document management system because we cannot find the right file? Guess what? We have a lot of active users, and it means many of us will end up with the ROT data. In other words, it's not somebody's problem, but it's everybody's problem. This slide shows the recent survey result from AIM Research, and outcome of this survey is basically saying to improve information management, file sharing, file security, and file tracing are critical factors. But as we discussed on previous slides, having sizable data equates more challenges. And it's not easy to improve file sharing, security, and tracing with traditional models. Well, let us review how we manage information. Many of the communication tools we use today are either repository-centric or message-centric. I have to admit these solutions are very useful and important, but we have to look carefully and see if these communication methods are not causing issues. For example, when we are working on proposals, multiple project members interactively communicate and share files. Over the course of the communications, we end up with numerous files and versions on endpoint repository and even on communication systems. In other words, we are ignoring disconnection, redundancy, and inefficiency using location-centric or message-centric systems and tools. Interestingly enough, we have identified data is center of knowledge sharing and learned having a metadata-driven information management could resolve many of the unstructured data challenges. Just imagine information managing environment that no matter where data is traveling, security and all management capability travels with the data. Metadata-driven and content-centric solution will assure that core info management functionality are always available no matter where data is located, allowing organizations to avoid information disconnect, redundancy, and enable efficient knowledge sharing environment. Okay, this slide shows some of the key features of data-centric solution Rhapsody. Users can always access up-to-date content by opening their local documents and collect all information associated with the content right from the document, enabling data-centric knowledge management environment. Also, Rhapsody enables file-level access control using dynamic certificate-based encryption, allowing only authorized users to access the content. The solution is also metadata-driven and automated that users can work on their document from their rendering applications, and Rhapsody automatically populates the content as if users are using content management system. It also creates virtual email client view or virtual file explorer, all enabled based on metadata without user interventions. In addition, the solution automatically provides file backup when users are just creating or editing documents, and allowing them to instantly back up and restore when necessary. Good use case would be a ransomware case. In case of ransomware infection, users can retrieve all information so they don't have to worry about decrypting the file. So you are basically backing up all the files and instantly restore all the files, even infection happens through the ransomware. The last, organization could collect content usage of users which reflects real user behaviors, not the system logs, allowing companies to deeply understand and analyze and come out with valuable insight of the organizations. So, how can we define Rhapsody? Rhapsody is a metadata-driven content services platform that enables data-centric security and collaboration. Organizations can empower their security and build better information governance environment by eliminating complexity and inefficiency. So we are moving to next slide. Creating and sharing document can become very, very simple process. By saving a document gets encrypted automatically, and by selecting who can access the document, the selected user receives auto-generated notification at their desktop and email. No need for users to move around collaboration application, but work directly from the document. Tag can be automatically added to the document based on the owner's information, and users who have access to the document can manually add appropriate tags. Unlike conventional encryption solution, Rhapsody enables dynamic certificate-based encryption that users do not have to worry about managing their private keys, since one-time usable private key is tied to the device will always be generated from the policy server. On top of it, no matter where the data travels, security travels with the data at all times. And data-centric access control help organizations to reduce threat surface caused by giving too much permissions like file folders or repository, which makes a very, very secure environment. Another big security challenge is ransomware, as briefly mentioned. Many organizations and individuals believe they are well prepared from ransomware threats. However, not every user is adequate, and there's always a user who makes mistakes and makes wrong choices. To minimize a ransomware damage or for other purposes like compliance requirements, most organizations have file backup policies. Yet, whether they have daily, weekly, or even monthly backup policies, there is always going to be a gap. And backup can be sometimes very time-consuming and redundant, causing a lot of issues again. Rhapsody is enabling auto file backup when users work on local documents using their rendering application, and which means every version can be instantly backed up and retrieved at any time. So another point here would be Rhapsody has a ransomware backup feature, which will allow users to back up metadata of all local files at their PC. This feature can be very useful not only from ransomware recovery, but also cases when users are changing their device and other various use cases. This was sort of mentioned in the previous slide, but enterprises are using many kinds of collaboration tools, repository, including file servers, Alfresco, SharePoint, SAP, just name it. Using the metadata of document, Rhapsody can automatically provide a view of email client perspective. That document that you need to access is listed like as if you are accessing Outlook client. Innovation does not stop there. Rhapsody can also provide ECM-like look and feel web application, and content showing on the web is generated automatically based on the metadata. Depending on users' preferences, document can also be identified with the File Explorer's view. Tag-based filtering lookup is also available as if you are using social platform, and many more. So, in a nutshell, Rhapsody provides content services automatically using metadata associated with the content, including the ones that exist on PC file servers. As a matter of fact, anywhere the data exists. Intelligent, right? Being a data-centric could deliver many values. Unique and persistent ID is injected to a document, which can bridge a gap in organization that they can assure whether it's a security node or content management, they will always have a consistent policy. Also, you can track document usage at all time, which is very important from compliance and auditing point of view. Getting back to the location-centric solution, it definitely has benefits for its own purpose, but often causing silo, security, and productivity issues. For example, let us think about a board meeting use case. Have you experienced cases where the last-minute change and sharing multiple versions through email and file servers and gets confused? How about putting together a proposal, selecting right version of contract boilerplate, or price list, or technical specification, or data sheet, and many more? Rhapsody can always guarantee you have the latest version of document, including one sit on your desktop using persistent ID embedded to the documents. Using the data virtualization technology, Rhapsody can provide the content at any time, whether using a rendering application or browsers at desktop, or using mobile apps from smartphones and tablets. Rhapsody is gathering many useful information as content is being created and being edited by multiple users at various endpoints or repositories. By doing so, the solution can collect very rich context information relating to the data and provide business insight that can drive digital transformation and improve processes. So I would say Rhapsody is just more than security, compliance, and content management solution. It's a truly innovative knowledge management platform that could drive growth and deliver value to organizations. With that, we can move to the demonstration.